So let's have a little talk about what I've been watching lately on physical media, on TV, in the cinema. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome to a new video. What I've been watching. I know I tend to do this every so often, then I stop, I come back to doing it, stop, I don't know. Let's see if we can make it a regular thing. So, I'm going to go through everything that I've been watching recently, just give you my thoughts on it and that sort of a thing. Oh, sorry, I'm so tired. So, being that, you know, I haven't done one of these for a while, I'm sort of going to focus on the now and maybe films that I've seen in the past couple of weeks that I haven't reviewed as an individual movie for whatever reason. I don't know. I think I might just include them in this sort of thing, just do a roundup of what I've been watching rather than individual reviews, etc. So we're going to do the physical media items first. So first up, I picked a film off of the shelf. I came up here, I just randomly had a look and I pulled out Role Models. Part of the reason being that I've seen a couple of clips recently on like Instagram or whatever it may be, X, I don't know, one of those sort of things. The scene where Paul Rudd's ordering the venti, or you know, the drink in the coffee shop, keeps popping up for me some reason, and so it made me watch the film. And yeah, I've been questioning recently about the amount of films that I've got in the collection. Obviously, I've done a culling a while ago, and I'm still questioning the amount of stuff that I've got and whether it's required. So it made me pull this off the shelf. And whilst it was an okay film, I mean, I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I don't know whether it's one that I would often revisit. I mean, I like Paul Rudd, I like Sean William Scott. I think they're both very good in the film, but there's elements of the story that don't work for me. I'm not a big fan of the whole sort of LARPing kind of aspect to the film, the live action role play aspect of the film. Even when that comes into play in like Hawkeye, the TV series, I'm a bit sort of but I know those characters, some of them characters are from the comics and things, or a certain run of the comics, that sort of a thing. I went with the theatrical version when I watched it. I have obviously seen the film before, but it's been some considerable time. The one thing I like about revisiting films akin to this, you know, American Pie, things like that, is that throwing it around there, look, is that they won't get made today. This sort of film can't be made today because for reasons of offence and not offending people, etc. The jokes, the sort of sexual humour content in it, it just, you know, not allowed, unfortunately. So yeah, it's that kind of element that would make me want to keep it in the collection. That sort of, because I do like revisiting that era, that time when humour was actually allowed. There we go. On to the next physical media bit that I've watched or am in the process of watching and getting myself through. Elementary. Yes, season 2 of Elementary. Me and the wife started on season 1 of Elementary sometime latter part of last year. We've worked up, we're into season 2. I'm about 3 episodes from the very end of this show. Obviously, if you don't know what this show is, it stars Johnny Lee Miller and Lucy Liu. It's a sort of modern day American set telling of Sherlock Holmes, the Sherlock Holmes story. Although obviously Johnny Lee Miller is British, he is British Sherlock Holmes, he's just over there. It's a good series. It started around the same time as what Sherlock did back in the day. You had 2 modern day set Sherlock Holmes shows, and while I can watch Sherlock and it feels like I'm watching a modern remake of Sherlock Holmes, this one not so much. It is more just a sort of police procedural American TV show. I don't say that to take away from it, to detract from it, because I think it's really good. However, I do start to forget that the characters I'm watching are Sherlock Holmes, John Watson, aka Joan Watson, you know, Moriarty, etc. When she pops up, and Rhys Ifans pops up as Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock's brother. That's always good. yeah, it does delve more into standalone stories rather than having overall story arcs, but there are small plot threads that make their way through into the seasons, into the series. Now, when this series first aired, I really enjoyed it, but I only got about halfway through this season before, for whatever reason, I stopped watching. I don't know why I stopped watching. It wasn't because I didn't like the show. It was probably very much because there was so much on TV at the time that I was watching that now I can get back into them. I do have all the seasons on DVD. And thanks to Chris over at Cypher 6 of Screen Time, he actually picked up 2 for me at a CEX near him when I was in the search for them all. Yeah, so I'm going to continue with that. I'm enjoying it immensely, yes. So let's get on to the other TV items before I get onto those films that I saw, the newer films that have come out in the cinema that I have seen. So first up is Squid Game Season 2. 7 episodes, I believe it was, for season 2 of Squid Games, or Squid Game. It's just Squid Game. I really like the show. I think it's fantastic. I seriously do. I mean, I know that a lot of people watch it. A lot of people like it. It's a sort of phenomenon, so to speak, as a hit, and rightly so. It's really good. Season 2, I won't go into details if you haven't seen it. It starts off a bit different than the first season. It's not so much about the games in the first 2-3 episodes. You got other stuff going on, the hunt for the games, the hunt for the people, this sort of a thing. And then you get sort of back into the game territory about 3 episodes in, but things are different. The games are the same, a few new games, but things become different in what's going on there, the characters, and do you know what I mean, and where it's going and where it's heading. Warning, it does leave you on a major cliffhanger for the next season. Luckily, next season isn't a few years away. It's the middle of 2025, June or July, I believe. So I'm really looking forward to that one. The other stuff on TV that I've been watching is Skeleton Crew, the new Star Wars, Disney Plus Star Wars TV series. I will say that the Star Wars TV series before that, the Acolyte, I dumped about 2.5 episodes in. I gave up completely. So I started watching Skeleton Crew, and although it doesn't bring anything new or fresh or good to Star Wars, I don't think it's going to do Star Wars any harm either. It's a very, I mean, Star Wars was for kids anyway, but this is squarely aimed at children. This is Star Wars for children. It's a frustrating show in that there's elements that keep me watching, but other elements that make me not want to watch it. I think the best way for me to watch this show is to disassociate it from Star Wars if I can in my mind. That's you know, Jude Law's great in it. I think he's really good. But yeah, it's a funny one. Overall, Star Wars, overall, I don't like, you know, I'd rather, I wouldn't care if these shows weren't there. Let's just put it that way. That's the kindest thing I can say. It's enjoyable enough. It's, you know, but it is made for very young audience. Yeah. Anyway, the other program that I've been watching is Dexter Original Sin, the new Dexter show, the prequel series, where a lot of the main characters from the original TV show have been recast by other actors, including obviously Dexter himself. And I was a bit dubious about that. Michael C. Hall, who's always played Dexter, he is a producer on the show, and he does do Dexter's inner monologue, so his voice is there, so you have that connection to the original Dexter's in that sense. But it's really good. It's, you know, I would say it's better than, well, it's definitely better than New Blood. Is it New Blood? The last Dexter show, whatever that was called. I think it was New Blood. I can't remember. Something Blood anyway. I do have them all on physical media. It's better than that, most definitely. I'm hoping that they continue and we do get like season 2 of Original Sin. I wouldn't mind more of this cast, because a lot of the cast are well done. The geezer who plays Dexter, very good. He's got a lot of the mannerisms down. And then you've got other characters in there like Angel, the police detective, LaGuardia, who comes into it, and the people that they've chose, the little Asian guy who's got the funny laugh, I forget the character's name. They're all really well cast. I mean, they look the part. They look like, younger versions of their older counterparts. They certainly do. Not so much Dexter's father, played by Christian Slater, or what's his face? I forget the actor's name now. One who plays the lead, the main copper in it, the one who the captain. I can't forget the actor's name. Christ Almighty. Anyway, I think they're bigger actors than what the characters are, if that makes sense. So I feel like I'm watching Christian Slater, if that makes sense, rather than Dexter's father. Yeah, but as for the show, it's it feels like Dexter. It feels Dexter, like Dexter back to how Dexter used to be. It's really good. It's really well done. So that's always, always looking forward to that coming on every week. And then we have 3 films that I haven't bothered reviewing that I've recently seen. Cinema films. First one being Kraven the Hunter. Now this film has been bashed. It really has, and I had fun with it. That's all I can say. It weren't the greatest film. I like Aaron Taylor-Johnson. It wasn't as CG heavy as the other Sony stuff, but it's not as bad as what people are making out. I don't think anyway. It's got its issues, most certainly, but I sat down, I watched it, and I came away thinking, I had fun with that. I had fun with it. Okay, so my next watch was Mufasa, the Lion King, if that's what it's called. Is that the title? Anyway, the Lion King sequel, prequel, this sort of live action animated Lion King movie. I really like Lion King. I like the original animated film. I think it's probably my second favourite Disney movie. Animated Disney movie. First being Beauty and the Beast. Actually, they're tied. They're kind of tied. I probably find Beauty and the Beast a bit more rewatchable than Lion King. And I didn't mind, although it wasn't needed, the, for want of a better term, live action remake. So now we've got Mufasa, the Lion King, and I went in with pretty low expectation. And I had fun. I enjoyed it. What can I say? It was in part it plays as a sequel, but primarily a prequel. It's a sequel in the sense that you've got, and in this it kind of reminds me of the sort of animated Lion King sequels, in that you've got the Simba's new cub, you've got the warthog and the meerkat thing, or whatever it is, and you've got Rafiki, and Rafiki sort of tells them the story of Mufasa, the king before Simba, and regales the young cub with the story of his grandfather, essentially. And so it kind of tells that main story, and then it jumps back to these bits with Timon and Pumbaa and Rafiki. But no, I didn't mind it. On the one hand, the animation doesn't look as good in certain parts. And then in other parts, the animation looks pretty damn good. You know, it looks like they've done more work on the character of Rafiki than anything else, you know. Rafiki's this sort of standout character in the film, most definitely. He's the one that you kind of connect with the most when he comes into it in the past, when he first comes about meeting Mufasa and all this. It kind of steals the show, so to speak. So, you know, this is a film that, you know, I would most definitely pick up on. I'd pick it up on physical media. I'd watch it again. You know, I didn't have issue with it. Yeah, it was all right. Some of the songs, you know, some of them range from being annoying to okay. But yeah, I had fun with it. And there we go. What else can we say? What can I say about it? Now, next up is, and the last is We Live in Time. We Live in Time, which is Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh's new movie. I think it came out in America maybe in October, something like that. And finally it came out over here. And it's a sort of love story. It's about these two individuals, their relationship, and the span of their relationship, covering a period of about 10 years. It's filmed in a non-linear timeline, so it jumps back and forth for you to then piece the bits together and figure out how it's kind of working. But basically, it goes from when these two first meet to trying to, you know, conceive a child, to then one of the party falling ill, and yeah. So I don't really want to say too much more beyond that. The film is set in the UK. It's set in London primarily. In fact, a lot of it was actually filmed in Herne Hill. And as a kid, that, you know, I used to frequent that sort of area. I knew that area, so it was nice to see Herne Hill train station for real, the roads around Herne Hill, and them in the park at Herne Hill, South London. So it's sort of like, you know, I was saying to my missus, oh, I used to work when I was like 11, 12, I used to work in a pet shop along there. My first job I ever had, that sort of a thingy sort of job, you know, when you have, as a kid, you have that paper route kind of a job. It was that sort of a thing. But I helped out in a pet shop for a few hours after school every day, cleaning out the animals and whatnot like that, until I was old enough to go and get a proper job, so to speak, while I was in college. But yeah, so it was nice to see these areas that you know, that all that makes it look a bit more prettier than what that area actually is. It kind of borders Brixton, although Brixton, I think, is you know, I don't know if that's as bad. It's not as bad as what it once used to be, is it? But anyway, I'm going aside. So you got Andrew Garfield in this. You got Florence Pugh, who you would know from Black Widow. You know, she's the Elena, Black Widow's sister. She was in Midsummer, things like that. Obviously, she's a British actress, so she's got her British, she uses her original voice, so to speak. Andrew Garfield is a quality actor. I like Andrew Garfield. There's something very regal about Andrew Garfield. You know, he's very sort of princely. Do you know what I mean? There's something about the way he carries himself and the way he stands that's very regal, and I don't know. But I enjoy his films, and yeah, this was it's a harder watch in a sense. It's not a feel-good movie, rom-com or anything like that, but you know, both him and Florence Pugh give great performances, and it's a film that, on the one hand, would be difficult to rewatch, I think, but I think for the performances, I would certainly very much consider giving it a watch again somewhere down the line. Would it make the collection? I think so. Maybe not at release, not 4K, but I think maybe a Blu-ray when it's cheaper. Pick up at the point where I feel that I might want to watch it again wouldn't go amiss. I didn't mention whether I'd pick Kraven up on physical media. The answer to that one is yes. Yes, I would pick Kraven up on physical media. So yeah, so they're the watches. Physical media watches, cinema watches, and TV watches. So let me know what you've been watching. Is there anything good that I am missing out on? And let me know if you've watched any of this stuff, your thoughts on it. Always interested. You know, film is art. Art's subjective. We like what we like. We dislike what we dislike. Yeah, so that's it. I'm done for another one. And I shall see you all later. Take care.